Hi, my name is Keely and I work here at Clipfolio. One of the common things we get asked on the support desk is, how can I set up a clip that reacts to a user input start and end date? So something like what I have here, where I have a start and an end date, and the user can pick from a calendar drop down for the dates they want, and then have the visualization react and show those dates that the users selected. So I'm just going to show one way of doing that today. So looking at how we built this clip here. So this example uses a data source that has dates in it already, and this is how we set it up. So I have two user input controls. So for the first one is going to be my start date. And I'm going to change it from a drop-down list to a date picker. And by default, the output format is Epoch, and I want it to be an Epoch, and we'll talk about that when we get to the filtering on the clip. I'm going to use a pre-existing variable in this case called start date. And because my start and end dates are inside my clip, I'm going to make the scope for this variable only this clip. I'll rename this to be start date so we know what that user input control is for. The next one I will use for my end date, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a label on it, end date. I'm going to change the control type to date picker, leave the output format, select a variable. In this case I want to use the end date as my variable, and change the scope to only this clip. Okay, so those are my user input controls set up. So now we'll take a look at the bar graph. So the first thing I want to do is set up my x-axis. So I'm going to select column A for my dates. I'm going to filter out the column header by adding a filter. So I do not want to match GA date. So I'm just filtering out that column header name. And then I'm going to go to properties and I'm going to title this date. I'm going to put the variables, the dates on an angle, and I'm just going to change the output format a little bit. And as you can see, I have a lot of dates in my data source, but I'm going to set them up to react to these input controls in a second. So then for my series is going to be my users in my data source. And I'm just going to select column B for that. Now to add the filter so it will react to the start and end date, I'm going to use additional data here as a hidden component, so I'm going to add that in. I'll rename this one. This is also going to contain dates, but it's going to contain them in Epoch format. So if you remember when we set up the start and end dates, we had their output format in Epoch. So I'm going to make the dates match that, and I'll show you how I'll do that. So I'm going to select column A, and in order to convert dates from a data source into Epoch, you use our date function, and you just select the dates, and then the second parameter, you tell the system what those dates look like coming in. So here it's the year, and then the month, and then the day. And that converts it into the Epoch. So now I have that in a matching format to the start and end date, and I'm going to add my filter. Oh, sorry, one more thing. I just have to go over here and make sure that it's a numeric filter in this case. So once it's Epoch time, it's effectively converted the date into a number. So I'm just setting that format there, and then I'm going to add a filter. So I'm going to add it as a condition. I'm going to say, if the date is greater than or equal to my start date variable, and I'm going to add another condition, and it's less than or equal to my end date variable, so effectively between my start and end date, then I want to take the data. So I'll add that filter in. And now you can see that the chart is reacting to the start and end date. And I'll save this. And then you can see if I select the dates, I'll select here from the 1st to the 7th, you can see that it reacts to the start and end dates. And that's the way you set up a clip that filters between a start and end date that a user picks using our user input controls. Thanks for watching.